Jiri Prochazka has teased a move to middleweight more than once, and now that he has lost to Alex Pereira for a second time and a title shot again against Alex Pereira does not look super hopeful at the moment. It might be time for Jiri Prochazka to move down to 185 pounds, new weight class, fresh start. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. Stick around to hear what I think about Jiri Prochazka moving down to middleweight and potentially fighting somebody like Khamzat Chimaev. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. Okay, so Jiri Prochazka has just suffered his second TKO defeat to Alex Pereira in about 7 months' time. They took the short notice fight at UFC 303 to replace McGregor versus Chandler. Jiri got dropped by a left hook at the end of the first round, and then the first thing that landed clean at the start of the second round floors him. Alex follows up with punches, fight's over. There's a few things here because Jiri has talked about a potential move to middleweight. Now, somewhat recently, actually April of 2024, just about two and a half months ago, Jiri Prochazka says to Farah Hanoun with MMA Junkie, focused on reclaiming the light heavyweight title, but contemplates a future middleweight move. Now, first off, that means Jiri doesn't cut that much weight. It seemed that way already. He's not massive on fight night. He doesn't look incredibly sucked out when he weighs in at 205. And so Jiri Prochazka, given that he's teased this before, he doesn't cut a lot of weight. It seems like he'd be much more likely to move down to middleweight instead of up to heavyweight, because he's not some giant, like has to cut a lot of weight to make 80 or to make 205 like Alex Pereira does, and like Alex Pereira had to do at 85. Full Violence posted this today saying Jiri Prochazka has teased to move down to middleweight, has thought about how he matches up with ranked middleweights, Jiri versus Khamzat at 185. You also have this article in Czech that was translated on Reddit, which says Jiri Prochazka and his team considering a move to middleweight after his second loss to Alex Pereira. Today is July 1st, so this was, at the time of recording this video, as you can see up there, 4 hours ago was when this was translated. The reporter says, how do you feel after returning home? Jiri says, like shit, but that's how it is sometimes. I accept it. It was a crystal clear defeat. It's going to be necessary to change, to move on and return as a new person. To move on, could it mean moving to a different weight class? Jiri says, we discussed it just now with the guys. I said to myself that I want to win the light heavyweight belt, and then only can I start thinking about middleweight. Right now, I definitely need to rest. That's the best thing to do right now. Even though I'm already thinking about locking myself in the gym and training, but I know that the best thing I can do is rest, get back to that fresh energy, and wipe out the middleweight division potentially like a hurricane. Or even, I'll give you guys my best Jiri impression. I did not feel like I was going into the match to dictate the terms of the fight, to enforce my order, regime, and victory. That has to come first as a fighter, and it didn't come for me. And I'm not putting that blame on anyone. Whatever. I'm not putting that blame on anyone. It's my responsibility. It was my fault. If there's something that was missed, it is my responsibility. My vision of my UFC journey, both of how I conduct myself and fight, is beautiful and powerful. I will either live up to these words and be like I envision myself, or nothing. All or nothing, I believe. I believe I can. I believe I will. Jiri Prochazka's coach, Martin Karaivanov, says, how do you evaluate it? Coach says, this time, everything before the fight was great. Everything was aligned. We believed Jiri was truly ready. We wouldn't have taken this short notice fight if we didn't believe he was ready. Everything was great before the fight. In the locker room, I don't know what happened. Jiri himself said that he wasn't fully in the fight, that he wasn't able to fully immerse himself in it, which was reflected by his performance. We are going to rewatch the fight, recap what happened, alter our training. His coach says, personally, how about I move to middleweight? The coach says, personally speaking, I see it as a potential restart and positive step. He's still at an age where he can cut weight to 84 kilos relatively well. We will definitely talk about it. It won't be my decision, but a team decision. Middleweight would make sense because it would be a new start, something new to focus on. A return to light heavyweight would make sense, and when it starts becoming difficult for him to cut to middleweight. Now, I find this really interesting. I think that Jiri versus a lot of 85ers, fun matchups. Jiri Khamzat, Jiri versus Izzy, Jiri versus DDP, Jiri versus Rob Whittaker, Jiri versus Imavov, like Jiri versus Cannonier. There's a lot there. Roman Dolidze, Khamzat, Like there's a lot, and Jiri would clean up against a lot of those guys. My only concern for Jiri Prochazka, I do think that given the current standpoint of Jiri's career, moving down to middleweight would be the quickest path to another title shot. He's a huge star. One win against a top guy gets him a title shot at 185. But here's the thing that I worry about. He takes a lot of damage. He gets hit a lot. We've seen him get almost dropped and badly hurt by Rakic at 300. And we've seen him KO'd twice in the last 7 months by Alex Pereira. You have the UFC 295 TKO loss to Pereira, brain damage. You have Rakic, which was a war at UFC 300. And then you have the KO that he just sustained at UFC 303. Cutting more weight might vastly negatively affect Jiri Prochazka's chin. That is something to worry about. His gas tank might not be there, but with his power and the fact that he doesn't cut that much weight to make 205, it's certainly doable. As this coach said, it's a team decision. If I was in Jiri's position, I would at least test the waters at 85 and just see, hey, can I get a one win and a title shot at 85? Like, forget Sean Strickland, forget this guy, forget that guy. Give me one fight, get me in there. But with that said, Jiri definitely needs time off, probably until next year. You know, that'll let middleweight sort itself out a little bit. You do Izzy DDP in August. Then you do winner against Sean Strickland in December, something like that. And then you do Jiri versus one of those guys in the top 5 sometime early next year. Set him up for a title shot, give him a Khamzat, somebody that they also want to push towards a title shot. And I think that nobody would complain about Jiri getting a title shot after one win at 85 against a top guy. And in the same way, if he was to fight Khamzat, I don't think that anyone would complain about Khamzat getting a title shot at 85 if he fights Jiri and wins. So there's my thoughts about Jiri Prochazka moving to middleweight. I think he should at least test the waters. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Should Jiri Prochazka take a chance and move down to middleweight? Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want extra content aside from my regular videos, make sure to become a channel member today to get access to members-only live streams and other bonus perks. Click the link in the description down below or click the join button on our channel homepage. If you're interested in non-MMA content from me, make sure to check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World.